Hi, welcome to Idhar Udhar Ki Baatein, a podcast that has something, nothing, and everything in between.
These are unfiltered and unscripted conversations between
Sam,
Ryan,
Rach.
who just want to talk.
but I don't know what to talk about.
Exactly. So, where we left off last time is, I guess, discussing about
Indian foods.
and how it's like overly sweet for, well, Indian people, surprisingly.
It's not overly sweet. I like it. It's just the fact that when you compare it to something abroad, it is less sweet. So I like it. I'm not saying no. It's just that on the quantity basis, it's like you can't eat too many of them.
Yeah, I remember my brother, when he used to sail and come back, he used to get these Maltesers for me. And I honestly used to have like half the dabba filled. It used to be what, like a 500 gram, 1 kg kind of a big dabba. I know. I loved Maltesers, okay? That's something to remember before you judge me. But yeah, I used to finish almost half the dabba. Very recently, I went somewhere and I found it because I had been searching for it for a very long time. I found it. I had like 1, I had 2, I had 3, and then I was like, I can't eat more. And I was like, how was I able to do it when I was a kid and not be able to do it now? But I also went to Dubai recently. I had Maltesers there. I almost finished the whole dabba again. And I was like, is this something are they using a different formula when they make it in India? What is it that's it's making it so sweet? Because I just can't have it. I have to wash it down with water. You can't have more than 3-4 at a time. It's surprising.
I mean, I don't think it's just with sweets, even the food. So, okay, so there's this weird thing that my friend and I used to go and gorge on food. Like literally, 5 years ago, okay? My friend and I used to literally go to malls and we used to finish off like 3 subs and usko baad 1, 2, 3 plates of momos. We used to just gorge. And at this point, we are like, एक सब खाना है मुश्किल हो जाता है खत्म होने में. So क्या हो रहा है? Are we getting old that fast?
Yes.
Well, Sam, just because you got white hair doesn't mean you're old.
I know, right? But no, okay, so here is a very weird story probably from my end, is that I have a very good appetite. A very good appetite. I'm not talking about, those appetites people think that girls have. Oh, they have an, very small but think it's very big. No,
we don't have a problem with your small appetites. We have a problem with saying that, oh yeah, order a full plate and then you're eating 10% of the plate and we being like,
No, that's definitely not me then. You gotta order yourself a separate plate, that's for sure.
Thank you.
The other day, I say the other day, but it was like at least I guess a year or 2 or 3 back.
What the hell? That is literally not the other day.
Well, the other day, I was in the office and one of my friends was like, you can't eat. And I took it upon myself. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you what I can eat. So I had I don't know if you guys have had pizza from Oven Story.
oh yeah.
So
Good
know
pizza.
the pizza from Oven Story is very nice. It's heavy. It's cheesy. I had that whole medium pizza. No, I had a large, I think. Yeah, I had a whole large pizza on my own. I also had the cheesy garlic bread that comes with the 3 garlic breads.
Okay.
I had all of that. And I was still hungry that I ordered a sub for me later on after that to gorge that down as well. But even now, I still have the same, almost 80% of the same appetite. I think over time, I feel like we tell ourselves subconsciously that, you shouldn't eat so much. And that plays like a small role in your mind, I feel. What do you think, Sam?
I don't think it's you shouldn't eat as much as it is like you need to eat in proportion. So this is the thing that I have learned in the last few years, right? Like overeating is never going to help you. So obviously that one pizza at one time or the sub and that feels nice. And I know it's very weird for me to say this because I have been on my own health journey with, trying to control overeating and everything.
Oh, for all the listeners, Sam used to be a non-vegetarian and now she's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm strongly against this.
Oh, that's
Yay.
a topic for another time. So, talking about overeating and all that, I don't think with you it's overeating. With you, it's like you eating how much you can. Okay, but it's okay. So, this is something we were actually talking about when I was still in my full time. So, we were talking about in Ikigai or in the Japanese culture, they don't eat to their full. So in Indians, in Americans, all our cultures, right, we eat until we can't eat anymore. But in the Japanese or other Asian cultures, they eat up to 80%. So they don't overstuff themselves. That's one of the reasons, even though they have so much on their plate, each item of that contributes to their health or their longevity in life. So it's not about how much you're eating, it's what you're eating and also the quality of food and everything.
I
So,
think that
and
makes
it's
sense.
also us telling ourselves that we shouldn't overeat. It's because, see, right now I am very much overweight. I am much beyond my BMI. And that's causing a lot of health issues, which I'm 26. I should not be having these health issues. My grandmother, who's 90, is in the kitchen just roaming around doing stuff. She can do a lot more things than we could at, the
And
age.
she's not a non-vegetarian, is she?
She is a non-vegetarian.
See, that's my point. Is that you don't need to go vegetarian or vegan.
There are a lot of people who are vegetarian or
I don't think
pescatarians and
vegetarian, non-vegetarian
Yeah.
has anything to do with how much you can eat or what you're kind of eating.
Yeah.
You have your vegetarian proteins, you have your non-vegetarian proteins. The reasons probably why she went from non-vegetarian to vegetarian is completely her personal thing if she wants to bring up ever. But I kind of disagree with what you're saying because I have, we've gone out, Sam and I, and sometimes we've gone out to places where it's just the two of us. So I'm ordering a non-veg dish, she's ordering a veg dish. And mind you, her veg dishes are so yum that I abandoned my non-veg dishes. I abandoned my meat to go have some, vegetarian food. So I feel like it's the best of two worlds for me when I'm going out with her. But like she said, right, it's subconsciously your mind is telling yourself, you're telling yourself that this is your limit.
Yeah.
You can't have more than this, or you should not have more than this. Because when we are younger also, right, this is something to consider. When we are younger, we have a better metabolism also. We have that energy to burn off all of that calories, which is why we feel the need to intake that much calories as well. As you're getting older, we get into a very sedentary lifestyle that is there, like
Desk jobs.
desk jobs. Yeah, like I am at my desk almost all day, like from 24 hours I'll sleep for 8, for the remaining of the 16 I'll be at my desk for like 10 hours, and I very, very rarely even take breaks during those 10 hours to walk, move about. Just sitting in that one position is so unhealthy for me, right? And my food I just intake and it just sits there's like, I remember previously when I was working and when it was a completely
Work from office.
work from office model. We used to have a proper 1 hour lunch. Okay, I and my whole group of friends, we used to go for lunch. We used to go walk down for a bit and everything, have the food digested, take in some sunlight for a change rather than the whole air conditioning of the office. And that used to feel so nice. But these days, like the current office where we are working at, it's a co-working space, okay, and there is no place to even walk about after you're done with lunch. So you get up from your desk, you go to the canteen, you eat, you go wash your hands, and then you come back and sit at your desk. You're not putting in any exercise, you're not putting in any work into or walking off your food after you've had it. And I feel a lot of that is again related to how much we are working, to be very honest. I mean, coming to the whole 90-hour work week thing, okay, that is just absolutely
Crazy.
wild to me.
It's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm shifting from full-time to like freelancing or part-time and figuring things out with this stuff.
But that being said, I don't think when the 90-hour work week was even proposed, it was like, no, we've got to make our employees work for 90 hours. I mean, it was not like, it's not a slave driving trade. It was
Of
like,
course it was.
okay, maybe some bosses took it the wrong way, but at least as a part of a startup, what I understand is if somebody wants to, at least as a part of a startup, you understand that, okay, this much effort needs to be put in order to get this project off the ground.
But you
Okay.
see, in startups, so I'm so sorry I cut you off, but in startups, right, it's the hierarchy from top to bottom. Everybody is putting in almost the same hours of work because it's a startup, because you need to get it off the ground. When a company like Infosys says 90-hour work weeks, okay, the question that comes to my mind is, are you sitting for 90 hours and working? Because you're not.
But
How
I think
do you-
that's what he said. I sit for 90 hours and I would expect my employees to sit for
But
90
here's
hours.
the thing. This is not my company. Okay, when you start something, it's your company. So you should put in the work. This is what Gary Vaynerchuk said. You cannot expect your employees to put in the same amount of hours that I am putting in, as this is my company, it's my baby. Why should I give a damn about your company? I am working here because I want money. I need to sustain my needs. Okay, so I am not working here because okay, there are some people who really love what they do. Okay, see, very frankly, I have been in the corporate sector for 4 years. I did enjoy my work, but at the same time, it came with such baggage that I have to get up in the morning. And every single person I know says the same thing when they are in the corporate. They're like, I have to get up, it's a Monday, and I don't want to feel like that anymore. And that is what people are going towards now in the higher ups. They're all like, we should work more. No, you need to maintain your peace. That's all.
See, I understand what you're saying with peace and everything, and I kind of will disagree a bit on your point where you're like, it's your company. It's a company is built by its employees and the owner of the company together. I agree that if it's my company, I will obviously put all 24 hours of my day into it because it's my baby. Yes. But if you create a culture for your employees where they enjoy working,
Exactly.
where they enjoy doing what they do,
Exactly.
they will not actually mind working for longer. Like I have been working in the corporate sector for 6.5 odd
7
years
years.
now, almost 7 years in June. I absolutely love what I do. I love it. I don't mind putting in those extra hours because I can see ultimately it helps my company's, growth. I can see I am growing, the company is growing. The culture that I have at my workplace is so much more flexible for me. Like I remember when I was going through some personal hardship and I required some, time to work from home, it was very much an option for me. But when I hear companies or people saying that 90-hour work week is what we're going to, I'm just like, is that really necessary?
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen people abroad, companies abroad that are moving into 4
days
work weeks, okay, and they are coming up with proven results. Maybe I would say instead of going from a Monday to Saturday work, when we have literally moved from Monday to Saturday to Monday to Friday, maybe we can try and sustain people on Monday to Friday also. I see so many people traveling at least 3-4 hours a day to office, which 3-4 hours can be used to work from home peacefully. You do the same work from home, you do the same work from the office, and the productivity doesn't decline. You can test it out with your employees, right? But just blatantly saying that just because what are you going to do, stare at your wife? I mean, I love staring at my dogs, my sister, my partner. I want to do it.
Exactly.
But when it comes to working from home, what I have observed is if you have somebody at home, be it maybe you have kids at home, maybe you've got your partner who's also doing a work from home, what I feel at least there's a kind of distraction that maybe gets in the way. So I'm a guy who prefers, okay, maybe it'll take me so I'm the person who likes traveling because he listens to books on the way. Alright, I'm an audiophile like that.
Oh, same.
So for me, that 1 hour of traveling or that half an hour of traveling is more like my meditative period where I recharge, go to office, get fresh, get out from office, travel that 1 hour, meditate, and I feel fresh that way. And I enjoy my period in office. Like you said, if your work environment is good, you don't have a problem spending time there. So for me, I enjoy my job and I don't think it's right. So I also have those kind of people in my office who are like, देख हम लोग join किया है for a 9 to 6 shift, हम लोग 6 बज के तो निकल जाएगा. And that kind of mentality, they drag you out because they feel if one person sits, then they all have to sit or they'll look bad in the boss's eyes. But that doesn't mean that a person who enjoys his work should get out just because the others want to, right? So that's what I'm getting at. If somebody wants to work for 9 hours or wants to work for 16 hours, let them. It's not something that the company is forcing you to do. Of course, if you feel like, okay, I'm not being paid enough for the work, ask for more. Get your salary on an hourly basis.
That doesn't happen here, but
no, but that's the thing. Now, if you feel it's not happening, you always have an option of walking away. Nobody's forcing you to work for that
Not
9
everybody
hours.
See,
has
I
an
don't.
option.
Yeah, and, plus the way it's all in your tone of the way you say it, right?
Yeah.
When you say, okay, hear me out. So you can work for 90 hours a week if you want. No, you have to work for 90 hours a week. You see, there's a difference. When you're on a platform as big as that, and you say, I would want my employees to work for 90 hours. You're indirectly implying that oh shit, now my employees will have to work. So as an employee, I'll be like, do I have to work 90 hours starting Monday? Is that what is expected of me now? See, I get your point where you're like, your point where you're like, people come for 9 to 6, they come, they do, and they go, which is perfectly fine. You start, you are assigned your work, you complete your work, and you're done at 6. It's fine. It's not bad. They shouldn't feel like they have to stay back just because of other people staying back. This again relates to the culture that you're in. Like in my office, it's 5. I know I'm going to go back home and work. But my boss also knows it takes me like 2 hours to go back home. So if I'm getting up at 5, there is silence. Nobody will ask me anything because they know she's going to go back home, she's going to work. She just needs to get ahead of the traffic at this
But
point.
that's also because you've been in the company for so long. Like, see, with me,
Yes.
I have switched jobs. Okay, I have worked in maybe 3-4 companies at this point in the last 4 years, maybe 3 companies, and I have not experienced that. Anytime I get up at 5, even though if I reach office by 8:30, if I reach office at 9 o'clock, it does not matter. It matters until what time I stay. So if I'm staying till 6:30, oh, I'm a good employee. But if I leave at 5 because I've completed my 8.5 hours, I've completed my 9 hours, and I'm going, everyone will frown upon me. They're like, you're leaving early. And by everyone, I mean the higher ups. They'll be like, oh, can you just do this? That's the thing that pisses me off. Don't tell me last minute that you want me to do something when that could have easily been communicated to me before. So this is the thing I have faced in corporate. It's horrible communication. And this is, I know, something that I will continue facing, whether I'm freelancing, whether I'm part-time or anything. It's something in the work culture that everyone wants to do last minute because they cannot communicate properly. Because they don't want you to, have your time or your personal
But
thing.
then isn't that the environment you have created around yourself?
I have told before, I was like, okay, so these are the things I will do throughout the day. I have literally spoken this and said, okay, this is the things I have in line for today. And it's all fine, we've agreed upon it and all. And going forward, just at the end, there will be a meeting around 4:30 or around 5 o'clock when they know I'm going to leave. And it's not just for me, it's other people also who leave at that time.
No, but see, as a manager, I understand that, but sometimes it is
Sometimes it's completely okay.
so that's what I'm getting at, sometimes it's like, okay, it's also the point that when we know it's a corporate life, we want to get home early. I've been there, I've worked in corporate. It's like the whole day I have something focused, and it's the end of the day where I want to have a meeting with my team, get a follow-up, get all the updates, give them any updates. It's not like I'm expecting, unless it's really on the neck, it's not like I'm expecting them to give me the same day results. I'll tell them something at the end of the day so that they can work on it. It's not like I'm going to ask them the next day morning, ye hua kya? We understand that, okay, it's the time of the end of the day, the person is going to leave. So it might be a personality difference. It might be you have got a horrible manager. I'm not disagreeing. There are those too.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, it's the end of the day meeting. We are not doing it because we want to make the employees stay late. Even we want to leave early at times. But the end of the day meeting comes up because we don't want to disrupt the rest of the day. Trust me, getting one meeting in the middle of the day, let's say you're spending an 8-hour work day and suddenly you have a half an hour meeting, the 15 minutes for setting up the meeting and the 15 minutes after the meeting, those are wasted too. Disagree with me if you want.
So I would think of it in such a manner. If going on the point that you were speaking, if you want an update from your employees, right, a kind of an end of the day update, right, or if I have to just collate yours and Sam's points there for a second, just having a collation, I can have a meeting at 3:30, okay, let's say, because like you said, right, after 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, let's say you're having a meeting at 3:30, 3:15 your employee starts to prep for that meeting, your employee gets your whole things, said that okay, this is going to be discussed. At 3:30 you realize, oh wait, there is also this that needs to be completed by the end of the day, right? Your employee then has another hour and a half to complete the task, as compared to when you're having the meeting at 5, okay, your employee is like, okay, now it's time to pack my bag, and then there's this meeting invite that's popped up. Granted, I'm not saying you're going to put it at the last moment, but you have a meeting invite at 5, and then you're like, oh, you need to finish this task, okay, then that means you're going to stay late today, which means you're going to finish this task late, you're going to catch a later train, you're going to reach home later, you're going to do all of your evening things later, right? That also disrupts your whole switch from professional life to personal life ka transition that you do.
Yes.
Plus, my manager also loves taking updates. But what he does is, he does this thrice a week call. So every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, we have a call in the morning. It starts from 9:30 to 10. This call will be, or about from 9:45 to 10:15, wherein the work will be assigned to everybody. Okay, he'll put the dates across, like say for an example, I'm working on this report today and I'm working on this report tomorrow. The entry would have my name, Rachel, over there, and it would have the dates, like say for an example, 10th of Feb and 11th of Feb. On 12th of Feb, which is Wednesday, he will take an update from me that, okay, was this completed on 10th? Was this completed on 11th? And I'll be like, yes, it's completed, or no, it's not completed. And then we have a discussion, and then my next 1-2 days work is also set up. I feel that works a little bit more better. See, I don't mind having end of the day meetings, but I just feel that, an employee works the whole day, and then at 5:36, they are like, okay, now, it's time to transition into a personal life change, and you have a meeting just then, you're just like, damn, I'm having a meeting in the start of the day, I'm having a meeting at the end of the day, I'm giving my TTDs, your tasks to dos for the day, I'm giving all of the updates. Everything has already been decided, and then you pile on additional on my plate every single time. That is unreasonable, I would say.
No, but doesn't even make sense. Like you come in the morning and get up. If let's say I have a meeting on the previous day, we discuss the next day's tasks. Doesn't it make more sense that you can think about? Okay, maybe it's a little bit selfish that we expect you all to go home and think a little bit about the task you're going to do for the next day.
Yes.
It is.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm
Yeah.
saying it is selfish on our parts. But at least it's not like, okay, I give you a task in the morning and a task. See, because let's say I'm in production, okay? We are into manufacturing, we are into production. We got to deal with vendors, we got to deal with purchase, we got to deal with contractors. They don't pick up phones after 8 o'clock. So let's say I give you a task in the morning and let's say you spend, let's say 8 o'clock, nobody comes to office at 8, let's say meetings start at 9. Let's say 9 to 10 the meeting goes on. 10 to 12, 10 to 1, you think about what you're going to do for the next task. 1 to 2, you have your lunch. And then all you're left for is 3 to 6 for calling up and doing all the coordinations. How was that any useful when compared to I had a meeting on the previous day, 5:30. You went home, hopefully you thought about your task the next day. You come in the morning and then you can start off with the task. End of the day, hopefully you'll have everything completed.
I'm not getting paid to think on my personal time, no?
Yeah, but then at least, okay, come to office in the morning and start thinking.
Which is what I would do, right? I'd come at 8, I'd think about it. I mean, so in the example you used, right? Nobody comes to office at 8. You said 9 to 10 you'd have a meeting. Between this, you'd assign my task. I have 10 to 12, I'll be sitting thinking about this task. That's when I'm paid to do it. I'll think about it during that time. See, as a person who also manages my house, kind of, I have n number of things on my plate. Okay? I don't want to bring my work home with me and sit and think about a work thing when I could be spending time with my sister, I could be spending time with my dogs, I could catch up on some reading. Then I'm just like, I'm stressing about the task in the office, I'm stressing about the task outside office. So when am I really stressing about my own personal things?
Which is why I said it is selfish on our parts. We're
It
not
is.
denying it, but it is something that we need to do because in the end we've also got to make sure that the company is running, right? Your salary comes in on that basis, so we've got to make sure we can suck in as much productivity as we can. So I'm not saying it's right. It is wrong. At this point, seeing your faces, I can see that if you all had a knife, I would be dead.
No. See, I completely agree that, I have not worked on a managerial level. So I don't know what you all go through. And I can empathize with that up to one level. But purposely keeping meetings late or intentionally doing things that will irritate your employees or, seeing good employees. This is the thing. Bad managers are 98% of the reason, and that statistic is not this.
It's a SAM statistic.
Yeah, it's a my statistic. 98% of the people leave because of bad managers. I myself have left companies because of bad managers.
What would you classify as a bad manager?
See, when you cannot prioritize, okay, when you see someone working, okay, so now, see, I'm very systematic. And this is not me saying that I am really good at my work. There are many drawbacks, but I also learn along the way. So if you tell me, I don't like this, I will give you other solutions and I'm like, okay, see, this is what you can do. Maybe I've also had disagreements where I can't communicate properly. To me, a bad manager is someone who cannot communicate, who intentionally tries to, stop the employee from having that personal life or talking about stuff. And one of the top reasons is if a manager themselves doesn't have a personal life. This might be a very opinionated thing, but if your manager does not have a personal life, they are going to intrude on your personal life. I've had this experience. I don't want to continue talking more about this because it can cause issues in the future. But I think every manager should have a personal life. Okay? And by personal life, I mean something outside of work. If you want to work outside of your working hours because you love your company, go ahead, do it. Okay, if I love my company, if I love my job as much, I would have probably done it. And I have done it in the past. It has generated nothing. I have never got appreciation. I have never got compensation. And by compensation, I mean financially. Nothing. No appreciation. Zilch. And that's something I don't appreciate. Because I'm not telling you, oh, come and pat me on the back and see you did such a good job. It's not that. I'm not telling
weird,
you,
right? So I'm just sitting at a desk and be like, good job,
yeah,
Sam.
I'm not saying, what are you saying?
For audio reference, I just got whacked.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that you can once in a while tell your employees, hey, this was a project, you did really good on it, and I'm happy with your work. It's just that little appreciation because I know I have also gotten appreciation in the past and seen my work after that. So it's about, see, To me, it's that you respect my time, I will respect the work time. I will get as much done in a short amount of time that we have, and you don't need to you don't need to intrude on my personal time. If I come at 8:30, if I'm regular, I want them to respect my time of leaving as well. So don't keep a meeting at 5:30. Keep it maybe at 4 o'clock.
But then we can't expect the same performance from everyone, right?
Exactly. So treat everyone differently, right? Why am I being treated as the same one who's slacking?
So what do you expect us to do is call you up separately, say this is your task.
No.
So what do you expect us to do?
Don't keep a meeting at 5:30. You keep a meeting earlier. Like Ray said, you keep a meeting at 3:30, you keep a meeting at 4. And see, the 5:30 thing is a very strict example because I'm saying because I generally leave around that time, maybe 5:36. Because if I leave even 10-15 minutes late, I would have a fixed time. Like Ray said, I would have a fixed train or I would have a fixed system of how I would come back home. I get late from that. I reach home maybe by 7:30 and then I can't go to the gym because my trainer is there only up to 8 o'clock. I can't go to the gym. My dinner becomes late and my whole evening schedule is messed up. This has also caused a lot of health issues for me in the past. It's a personal thing, but it's one of the reasons I come on time and leave on time, right?
But here's the thing. Okay, just said, okay, you need the work. Let's say my work hour is 9 to 6, all right? Let's say you want to leave at 5:30 or let's say you want to leave sharp at 6, all right? Because you want to catch a train. I keep a meeting. I understand this. I keep a meeting at 5 o'clock. Let's say the meeting went on till 5:45, went on till 6 and you have to pack your bags late that day. You were expected to work till 6, right? We did not include that 15 minutes of pack up in the working time, did we?
I understand if it happens like once. Okay, like you have something. I can understand client requirements. I have handled too many of these nonsense client requirements. I understand once a while. My issue comes, when you're criticizing the employee for saying that you are not staying for 8 hours, but when the employee does stay for 8 hours, completes their work, completes their things, you want an update, fine, no problem, you can take that update in 15 minutes also. Take it. No one is saying don't take it. Okay, take your update. But at least don't do it intentionally that you're taking it at a time when you know your employee is going to leave and your employee wants to go home.
That I agree with. It's a bad manager, a person who sees that, okay, it's for 15 minutes to 6, I want to take a half an hour long meeting now. That's a bad manager. But a manager who tells you in the start of the day that every week or rather every day, at the end of the day, at let's say if your office is ending at 6, 5:30 every day we're going to have a meeting, just a huddle to understand what went wrong today or what we did today and what can we proceed with.
Okay.
So is that something also that's wrong?
At that point of time, what I would suggest is that you ask your employees, should the meeting be from 5 to 5:30 or 5:30 to 6?
It's obviously you're going to want 5 to 5:30, but we cannot. But then what about 5:30 to 6? The time we cannot afford for that time to be lost.
Why is it that you have to keep the meetings that late in the night, in the evening?
See, it's a simple point, right? Like I said, if I keep the meeting a little bit earlier, the point after the meeting is all going to be wasted. Because you're going to be in, okay, so the meeting's over, the stress is out, all right? It's a normal thing that happens. A meeting gets over, you're in a high stress situation, the meeting gets over, there's a little bit of de-stressing that happens, and then for half an hour, at least my observation of myself is I'm not productive for half an hour after a meeting. Or not half an hour, 15 minutes after a meeting, unless something specific has been assigned after the meeting. So again, that time went waste, and then let's say I have half an hour to leave after the meeting, 15 minutes to the de-stressing mein gaya, and 15 minutes you're like, it's just 15 minutes left. If I pick up something, I'm not going to be able to finish it off. So I might as well not pick it up. So I've lost an entire half an hour of an employee. And I'm not just talking about one employee. I'm talking about my entire team.
But doesn't that sound like you're micromanaging this
it's
employee
not micromanaging.
to the last minute of their workday?
But I have to get the productivity out of the employee, right? Which is why we take the meetings.
Why is it that 8 hours is productivity, but 5 hours isn't? I am someone who I can get work done in, if it's an 8-hour work, okay, for example, just any project, I can get it done in 5 hours, for example, okay, that's how efficient I am. So why do I, okay, someone who finished all my work in 5 hours, have to wait for the lack of productivity of someone else? If I am done with my work, why can't I? So this is another thing that, bothers me. I get it. Not everybody can get special treatment and all, which is completely understandable. I'm talking from an employee perspective. You're talking from a more managerial and, higher up perspective, which I get, okay. But I also feel that it is your lack of management that is causing us to delay in the work.
Yeah, okay, like you said, okay, you got done of an 8-hour job, you got done in 5 hours, alright?
Yeah.
Does that mean I not give you work for the rest of the day?
No. You can give me other projects. It just means that I am efficient enough.
So what you're saying is that she can get a work done from 8 hours to 5 hours, right? You're thinking for the rest of the 3 hours she's just willy-nilly in the
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
not
not
thinking
office.
she's willy-nilly in the office. What I'm saying is, if you're done with your job, I'm gonna and give you a new job.
That's
and
fine.
it's okay. It's a point of a bad manager that you don't recognize talent, right? If you are a person who sees, okay, this employee, if others are taking 8 hours to this job and this guy is doing it in 5 hours, it's your responsibility to look at the guy and automatically either put him up at a higher level or increase his pay grade. It's your
Yes,
responsibility.
yes.
If a
But
person
what
is not
happens-
doing that, it's a bad manager.
Yeah.
I understand what happens. I've been there, which is why I switched to a startup. I've been there. You're good in a company. You're doing better than other employees. See, with luck, I worked with 3 companies before this. 2 of them saw that, okay, this guy is doing well. They bumped me up a pay scale. They bumped me up a rank. But I've also been with a company who are like, okay, बाकी लोग भी कर रहे हैं, तू भी कर रहा है, तू ज़्यादा कर रहा है, तो उसमें हम क्या करें? Don't do more work. Right?
Yes.
So I understand the pros and cons of that. But what I'm trying to say is, if somebody wants to work more, if somebody's trying to get the maximum productivity, yes, going back to the point where I am expecting my employees to go home and have in their subconscious mind that, okay, something has been assigned to me, that's selfish and that's something I cannot afford to lose. And secondly, if somebody wants to work for 90 hours a week, I can't tell them that, don't work for 90 hours a week. It's their choice. If they're enjoying the job, why stop it?
See, if they are enjoying it, it's fine. The point here isn't that whether they are enjoying it or not enjoying it. The point is, are we really expected to do 90 hours a week?
Nobody's
If I want to
expecting
do
you
it,
to.
it's
They
fine.
are.
This
Has your company boss come and told
I
you?
am free.
Fine. Has Rachel's company boss come and told her कि I'm expecting you to give me 10 hours a shift or 10 hours a day?
No, that's because her company has a bit more civilization and a little bit more brains.
Exactly. So what he has said is, I would like my employees to. See what anybody says when we expect you all to work from home, or when we expect that, okay, you're going to think about a project at home. We don't mean that you leave everything around, leave your personal matters and just think about the company. No. What we're expecting is at least a subconscious part of your mind is thinking about it, so that when you come in the next day, you're not coming in and starting from scratch.
I mean, a subconscious part of my mind is always stressing about work.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And that's the worst part, right? We are in such a culture that we always have to think about work. In fact, even with freelancing right now, I had a client meeting yesterday. I generally don't like working on Saturday, Sundays. I want to do a bit more of other creative stuff. I have a lot of other projects going on right now and I want to work on those things. But freelancing is a whole different game. But right now, since I'm not working on that project, I am thinking, oh my god, I'm not working on it right now. I should be working on it right now. I'm wasting time. It's Sunday, but I don't want to work on that. I want to work on my personal projects. But I am constantly thinking about work.
So are you telling me in office, when you're in work hours, you're not thinking about anything that's happening at home?
I am. That is human nature. You cannot expect that in 8 hours I am constantly working.
It's the
8 hours.
same way you're expecting us to think. Not you
Yeah.
specifically.
No,
It's
he's
the same way.
saying it.
I am the one who's saying it and I support it.
It's the same way how managers expect you to think a little bit about work while you're at home, and you will think of home while you're at work. It's irrespective, okay? Now, unless you really don't have any responsibilities in the world and you love your work so much that there is nothing else but work on your mind, you will only think of work. But that is not everybody, right? And see, I get Sam's point of not wanting a meeting at the end of the day. I wouldn't either. I would just be like, I just finished the stress of a work day just to get more stress thinking about
Yeah.
tomorrow's work day. And I get your feeling also, where you're like, you just want your employee to think more, to put a little bit more
Future
efforts.
planning. I get that.
It makes sense. But I feel at the end, it depends upon the kind of culture you have, the kind of
Yeah.
employee you have, and the kind of line of work you're into as well. Like you said, right? Startups need a lot of thinking happening, very consciously all the time, because you're trying to get the business off the ground.
Yeah.
Established companies, MNCs that have been there for a long time, their whole cycle runs even if you are there or even if you're not there, right? You're a kind of an indispensable person out there. You're there today, you're gone tomorrow, nobody cares.
So you indispensable.
Dispensable, sorry. The indispensable one would be the one who stated about the 90 hour, but okay. But so I get both your viewpoints, right? It ultimately depends upon, like I said, the kind of employee or the kind of culture you have. And honestly, I think this is a good point to end the podcast here for today. Let's what do you guys think? Do you agree with Ryan and his inhumane meeting times of having 5:30 meetings, or do you agree with more reasonable like Sam's meeting of 3, or do you just agree with me, morning meetings for the best?
Or do you just
know.
agree freelancing or corporate sector? What do you prefer?
What do you prefer, and where are you working? How is your work life?
Let us know in the comments.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye bye.